And I don't know why they hadn't killed him.
Absolutely.
Anyway, one more thing I'm going to tell you about Norm, because we're going to get it into it later. I told Norm the last time, last year I went to UFO Expo, and well, I'll tell you, got some good information. But anyway, I went to see Norm, and he's not well, and he's had several surgeries, and I expect any day to hear that he's passed away. He's 87, and I said, Norm, I said, I'm thinking that that the airplanes that crashed into the World Trade Center were holographs. And he said, John, you're probably right, and here's why. He said, just before I retired, I was driving down on the Bayshore Freeway to Sunnyvale, and he said I had a friend in the right seat of the car, and he says, like it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe 8:15. He said, we're driving south, and we saw this shadow, and we looked up, and here, he says, it wasn't a 747, but it was a huge 4-engine airplane. It wasn't 200 feet above us. And he said, we looked out and looked at this thing, and he said, of course, we're 20 miles from San Jose, and 30 miles from San Francisco. There's no possible way an airplane could, legitimately be flying right there. And he says, we watched it for about 10 seconds, and it went just like you turned a light bulb out. And he said, if that was the contemporary holograph presentation of a holograph, he says, then you're right. And the holographic technology is so far advanced that people just wouldn't believe it. But the other day I had a lady here that was helping Marilee on a casting program. Actually, she hired Marilee. She was from New York. She had 2 degrees from Harvard. She was just a wonderful, smart, receptive lady. And we were talking about holographs. She says, well, let me tell you. She said, about 5 years ago, I was invited with about 15 other television executives into a private showing in Hollywood. And there was a little auditorium. It wasn't very big. It could seat like maybe 30 people. And the presentation was called The Future of Television. And she said, I don't remember whether Steven Spielberg was there, but everybody else was. And she said it was brightly lit, and there was a stage and a podium on the stage, and we're sitting there, and this guy comes out from behind, and he's a kind of East German accent, East European accent, white hair, has glasses, and he comes out and he starts telling us the history of television and how they came up with the first cathode ray tube, and how they did this and how they did that, and he walks down in front of the stage, walks up one of the aisles, he's polishing his glasses, walks back up to the stage, and she says it was pretty boring. She says after about 20 minutes, he wraps it up with something, and that's the history of television. He puts his glasses on, and just like a light.
He disappeared? He was a hologram?
Yeah. And
wow.
That was 7 years ago. So that's what television is coming to, is you won't have a screen.
Right.
You'll just turn it on, and it'll be happening right there.
It's right there. That's great.